我们当时离婚的时候其实就没有说清楚，然后我觉得是我们俩之间有误会。
When we got divorced back then, we actually didn't make things clear. I think there was a misunderstanding between us. What do you mean we didn't make things clear? It was very clear you're just a materialistic woman. Weren't you the one who asked for that 800,000? I mentioned that 800,000 for a reason. At that time, my family had to sell 2 houses. And then you started asking for money. We were already struggling financially, yet you took advantage of that situation. I was about to get married again, but it was all for the sake of our child. So now you want to remarry me? Why did you file for divorce in the first place if the relationship wasn't that bad? That's none of your business. It is my business now. So how do you want to solve this? You said you want to give the child security, but I can give him security too. What kind of security can you give him? Who are you to him? I can be his mother in the future. Say that again? I can be his mother in the future. Who do you think you are to the child, huh? The story goes like this. A woman demanded $800,000 when her husband's family went bankrupt and left him. Now that she discovered her ex-husband had made a comeback, she came back begging for reconciliation. But the ex-husband bluntly told her to get lost as far as you can. On stage, the beautiful and elegant young woman was named Jing Xuan. Just as she was preparing to marry her fiancé, the fiancé's ex-wife suddenly appeared, bringing along the ex-husband's child, and demanded to remarry her ex-husband. However, when Jing Xuan said she was willing to accept the child, the ex-wife, Li Wanyu, cursed furiously, and even tried to rush at her to slap her. So why was Li Wanyu so enraged? What exactly was her true motive for seeking help? Today, I just want to reconcile with my husband. I think we can still live well together. You've been divorced for so long, what's the point of saying this now? But there was a reason behind the divorce back then. We didn't really explain it clearly. Yes, there was a reason, your obsession with money and your greed. How am I greedy? Weren't you greedy too? You only care about appearances, look at how you stare at my watch. I don't look at you that way. You are exactly that kind of person. Li Wanyu told the mediator that 3 years ago, she and her husband divorced because of a misunderstanding. After the divorce, she regretted it deeply. After all, they had dated for 3 years and had been married for only 1 year before divorcing. She felt that was a great pity. After the divorce, she also discovered that she was pregnant with her ex-husband's child. In order to rebuild their relationship, she decided to give birth to the child on her own, raising him as a single mother. She hoped that one day they could reunite as a family. But no matter how long she waited, what she received wasn't her ex-husband bringing her and the child home. Instead, she heard the news that he was marrying another woman. She was furious. When the ex-husband, Xiao Heng, heard that she wanted to reconcile, he scolded her shameless, saying there was absolutely no way they could remarry. So what exactly had happened between the couple? At that time, my father's business was failing. Xiao Heng explained. The family was struggling financially. We had to sell 2 of our 4 houses. But she found out about it, and instead of helping us, she demanded $800,000. Our factory was in trouble. My father had to sell property to pay the workers' wages, and she chose that exact moment to extort money. We had just been married for a year. Before the marriage, I promised to take care of her for life, so she didn't work after marriage. But when the family business hit hard times, I expected her to be understanding. Instead, she took advantage of our hardship. He said his parents had no choice but to give her the $800,000 because she threatened divorce if they didn't. That money had originally been set aside to save the company. Her demand made their financial crisis even worse. In the end, they divorced in anger. So why did Li Wanyu demand the money in the first place? Before marriage, he wasn't like that, she said. When my family's business started losing money, he didn't want to live with me anymore. That's why I asked for the money, because I thought he wanted to leave me. I felt we couldn't go on living together. Why couldn't you live together? The mediator asked. I told him I have mysophobia. I'm extremely sensitive to germs and cleanliness. According to Li Wanyu, after she asked her in-laws for money, her husband's attitude completely changed. Before, he treated her like a princess. Afterward, even though he knew she was obsessed with cleanliness, he began tossing cigarette butts on the floor and refused to clean the house. She found life unbearable. They fought every day, and she finally couldn't stand it anymore and filed for divorce. Stop changing the subject. said the mediator. We're talking about the money. Why did you suddenly demand $800,000 from your husband? What was that money for? I admit I asked him for the money, but I didn't truly mean to take it, she replied. I just wanted to see if he would give it to me. You didn't want it? Then why did you ask for it? I just wanted to know if he still cared about me. You asked for $800,000 just to test him? Do you even know the family had already lost more than $3 million? I didn't know that. The mediator was stunned. The family had lost over $3 million, yet she still demanded money. Lee Wanyu explained that her husband's attitude had drastically changed during that period. He stopped providing her daily expenses, stopped showing care or affection. So she asked for the $800,000 to test whether he still loved her. When he refused, she panicked and went to his parents for the same purpose, to see whether they still valued her as their daughter-in-law. She claimed she never knew the family business was collapsing. She said she never involved herself in financial matters and just wanted emotional reassurance. Even the mediator found that hard to believe. Why did you insist on holding that much money? I just wanted a sense of security, she said. After marriage, he changed. We didn't even go on a honeymoon. He promised I'd never have to work, but after the wedding, he was always too busy. He was gone for a week at a time, and when I called him, he wouldn't pick up. He had promised to let me live a good life, but I became a lonely housewife. When I heard my in-laws sold 2 houses, I thought they must have plenty of cash. So I wanted to set aside $800,000 as savings for our future children. After hearing this, Xiao Heng was furious. My family was losing over $3 million. We were trying to pay workers' wages. You knew how hard things were, yet you still demanded that money? I was working day and night to save the company, and you accused me of neglecting you. You didn't help or comfort me. You made it worse by extorting money from my parents. I must have been blind to marry you. I didn't mean it that way, Lee Wanyu insisted. I thought keeping some money aside was good for us, something to fall back on if the business failed again. It wasn't wrong for me to think like that. You said you wanted it. You argued over it every day. I said it, yes, but I didn't mean it literally. For me, the point wasn't the money, she continued. It was about security. I wanted to ensure we'd have something left in case the family failed again. Even if they lost everything, at least we'd have some savings. But her husband never understood. From then on, they argued nonstop over his messiness, over her obsession with cleanliness. I worked my body to the bone, he said angrily. I was out making money every day to support you, and you still complained I didn't help at home. Can't you even do a bit of housework when you're not working yourself? To her, though, it wasn't about chores. It was about love. He had changed after marriage, and everything went downhill from there. Now she said she was willing to return the $800,000 if only he would remarry her. But why was she still clinging to the idea of remarriage? After 3 years apart, after the divorce, about a month later, I found out I was pregnant, she said softly. When the baby was nearly 3 months old, I told him I wanted to remarry him. He said he would pay child support, but refused to reconcile. He even told his parents about it. After she took the $800,000 and divorced, she discovered she was carrying his child. Though he told her to abort, she refused. She endured pregnancy and childbirth alone, raising her son by herself, believing her ex-husband might eventually return. But he only paid $2,000 per month as child support and never visited. She had to work part-time job and take care of the boy on her own. The once pampered princess became a tired, struggling single mother. Now, with her son already 3 years old and in need of a father's love, she came to the TV program, hoping the mediators would persuade her ex-husband to remarry her for the child's sake. I really didn't ask for the money because I loved it, she said. You studied early childhood education. Why didn't you find a job? You didn't allow me to work. You promised to protect me and let me stay home peacefully, but you were too idle. Every day you picked fights. I came home exhausted, and there was no warmth in the house. If 2 or 3 months after divorce, your ex-wife tells you she's pregnant with your child, would you believe her? At first, I doubted it, said Xiao Heng. After the divorce, my family business began to recover. But when she showed up again begging to reconcile, I already knew her true nature. I refused. When she said she was pregnant, I told her to end it. If she insisted on giving birth, I would take financial responsibility only. I gave her prenatal support and then $2,000 per month in child support. I thought that would be the end of it. But when she heard I had a new girlfriend and was preparing for marriage, she brought the child to my parents, trying to ruin my new relationship. "You're a manipulative, ruthless woman," he shouted. "Ruthless? You're the one who's ruthless. If I were, would I have raised our son alone for 3 years? I'm about to get married, and you went to my mother, told her about the child. Didn't we agree never to let my parents know? If my parents find out, they'll force me to remarry you, but you're rotten to the core." "If you get married," she asked tearfully, "can the child still call you dad?" To Xiaoheng, his ex-wife was a selfish, calculating woman. He had agreed to support the child financially, but she broke her promise and manipulated his family. His parents were traditional, and if they learned about the child, they'd insist he remarry her. But he had seen enough of her true colors. Still, Li Wanyu wept, saying, "Since the divorce, I've been working. Now I finally understand how hard he worked back then. It's exhausting raising a child alone. I know I was spoiled and had flaws, but if he could tolerate me once, why can't he do it again for our son?" "What's your plan for the child's future?" the mediator asked. "The child can grow up in my new family," said Xiaoheng. "Absolutely not," she snapped. "Why not? You can't even care for him properly. The child must stay with me. I gave birth to him. I carried him for 10 months. And I'm his father. Don't I have any responsibility? You only send $2,000 a month. Do you know how expensive baby formula is? I earn only $3,000 from part-time jobs, plus your $2,000 barely enough for food and clothes. You see," she continued angrily, "if you marry that woman, can she really love my son like her own? Can you swear on your heart she'll treat him well?" To Xiaoheng, this was absurd. He believed his ex-wife still only cared about money. At that moment, his new fiancée stood up from the audience, furious. She shouted at Li Wanyu, calling her shameless for begging to reconcile after 3 years of dating other men. The two women clashed on stage, and chaos broke out. So, do you think they should reconcile? This episode ends here. We'll see you in the next story. Modern China is facing a troubling social reality. Marriages are collapsing not because of love, but because of money. According to official data from China's Ministry of Civil Affairs, the divorce rate has surged by more than 300% over the past 2 decades, with 3.8 million couples divorcing in 2024 alone. More than 60% of these cases are linked to financial stress, debt, or income inequality. Stories like this one, a woman demanding 800,000 yuan before walking away, only to kneel and beg for reconciliation later, reveal the deep moral and emotional crisis behind modern relationships. When materialism replaces affection, love turns into a transaction, and families, the foundation of society, begin to crumble. China's social trends shows that more and more young people now see marriage as a business deal rather than a lifelong promise. Without change, tragedies like this will keep repeating not only in China, but around the world. What do you think about this woman? Is she a victim of circumstance or a symbol of greed? Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know your perspective on China's social trends. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell for more shocking real-life stories from modern China. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. ChatGPT can make mistakes,